It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's weekly media roundup, 5:45 Live. I'm tonight's host, Roland Boyden, and on deck tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Mike Brown protests in Brattleboro with that news about the grand jury ruling in Ferguson, Missouri. Also got some footage of a train accident in Brattleboro, all part of that snowstorm, snow footage stuff that we'll be covering for you as well. Plus, we'll take a look at what came out of some of those Brat SB budget deliberations that a couple work sessions last week, and much, much more. So stick with us right here on 5:45 Live. Welcome back to this December 1st, 2014 edition of 5:45 Live. Now, that's footage from this past week as local residents protested here in Brattleboro following the grand jury decision in Ferguson, Missouri. That decision not to indict police officer Darren Wilson, who shot and killed Mike Brown, an unarmed black 18-year-old. And while the shooting itself prompted violent protests in Ferguson initially, and with it, a nationwide explosion of debate over race relations in the U.S., particularly between predominantly white law enforcement and the black communities they serve in, the decision not to further investigate Darren Wilson prompted new levels of protest nationwide. With the message here in Brattleboro, it's not just about Ferguson. Race is an issue right here in Windham County. And protesters that night urged everyone from the Chamber of Commerce to the Windham County State's Attorney's Office to Brat PD to take a long, hard look at the role race plays every day.
We invite you!
We invite you!
The Chamber of Commerce!
The Chamber of Commerce!
And our community!
And our community!
To stand!
To stand!
In solidarity!
In solidarity!
With us!
With us!
For racial justice!
Racial justice!
We have come too far!
We have come too far!
We won't turn around! The streets with justice! For Michael Brown!
Now, Darren Wilson did announce his resignation from the Ferguson Police Department last week following the grand jury decision, citing fears for his own safety among his reasons for leaving the department. All right, now got a few things to touch base with on this 5:45 Live, taking a look back at some of the happenings last week. Of course, we had a Thanksgiving break in there, so we're coming to you from a Monday here on 5:45 Live. Rare Monday appearance these days. We'll break down all those headlines, and for that, we'll go back into the newsroom, into the script here, as we recap a big week in Windham County that included a major dose of snow for the region, with Thanksgiving travelers beset by heavy storms, and with it a series of severe weather advisory warnings as well, all captured on our 5:45 Live web weather special, which we'll take a flashback to now. Let's roll it.
A winter storm warning for heavy snow means severe winter weather conditions are expected or occurring. Significant amounts of snow are forecast that will make travel dangerous. Only travel in an emergency. And if you must travel, keep an extra flashlight, food, and water in your vehicle in case of an emergency. Again, this is all quoted off of the National Weather Service official release for this severe winter storm warning. Now, as of their 8-hour release yesterday, they listed this as a 2 out of 4 severity, and it was upped just this morning to a 3 out of 4 winter storm warning for severity.
Just a look at some of our coverage from that snowstorm last week. Now, speaking of snow, a downed tree on the tracks just outside the Brattleboro Amtrak station caused some problems for one local train, and BCTV's James Bansleben was on the scene to gather more.
Come in there.
thanks again to BCTV hardworking volunteer James Banslaven for getting a lot of that original snowstorm footage that we saw in both our special and here in this edition of 545 Live, and that Amtrak train footage as well. They're still in the investigatory stage of that accident with the train, so we'll get you more information later this week as we find out. Now, speaking of James, he was also on hand for the Downtown Alliance's annual tree lighting ceremony in Pliny Park, with park namesake Pliny Burrows getting a special rep as his widow Franny Burrows joined the crowd to throw the switch on the downtown decorations.
Our special guest tonight is Franny Burrows. This park is...
All right, still a few more things to check in with this past week of crazy news here in Brattleboro, and for that, back into the newsroom we go here, as we now turn our attention to our Commons News Report and the official website of Brattleboro's weekly independent paper for new details on the Massachusetts man who was arrested fleeing the scene after holding up the Brattleboro Savings and Loan Bank for roughly $30,000 in cash. Now, according to the Olga Peters article entitled "Mass Man Charged with Robbery of Brattleboro Bank," 69-year-old Gardner, Mass. resident David Abbott confessed to the robbery after being apprehended near Exit 1 in Brattleboro, with Brat PD Detective Michael Carrier's official affidavit on the matter quoted in the article as saying, "Abbott told me he has been having deep financial difficulties and needs the money to pay bills and to prevent his house from being foreclosed." Abbott said he'd been planning the bank robbery for 2 weeks. You can read more about that on the article at commonsnews.org, where we're here in the split screen as we speak. For more details now, we'll take a look at a 545 Live rewind in time to our own coverage from the bank entrance immediately following the robbery.
BCTV's Roland Boyden here reporting for 545 Live. I'm standing in front of the Brattleboro Savings and Loan at 2:30 p.m. They're closed. That's because, according to official statements released by both the bank and Brad PD, they were robbed at approximately 1 p.m. this afternoon. Now, the single suspect was apprehended just down the road from here, I'm told, by eyewitnesses across the street.
Look at some of our 545 Live footage from that Brattleboro Savings and Loan bank robbery last week. Now, speaking of footage from last week, the Brattleboro Select Board hosted not one but two special budget work sessions with another round of tight budgeting on the way, as last year's decision to defer purchasing a new police cruiser could come back to bite the municipality this time around.
The last cruiser we sent out, we actually had to pay because it died and we had to have it towed. So we were in the hole. We didn't get any money. We actually lost money trading in a cruiser that died on us. So we increased that by $1,500.
Now, you can find both those Brattleboro Select Board special budget work sessions from the 24th and 25th. They're streaming at BrattleboroTV.org, and find them 2 clicks up the dial on our Government and Education sister channel, Channel 10, this week as well. Thanks to hardworking BCTV volunteer M. Richards, who gathered the footage from that. Now, the board does also have a regularly scheduled Select Board meeting tomorrow, Tuesday night. Start on Channel 10 as well, 6:15 p.m. All right, time to check in with our BCTV community calendar here. Now, this is all sponsored by the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, as their generous donations to the station each year helped fund our weekly look at calendar events coming up. And this week, we're going to talk a little bit about the Cherry Street Artisans. Now, they have a holiday sale each year, and we'll read a little bit from their official press release here. Cherry Street Artisans Holiday Sale and Cafe is a showcase for the work of 6 artisans and family members who have designed a unique and festive emporium taking place in the beautiful Victorian home of original member Judy Zemmel. Artisans are all in attendance at the event, offering a direct connection with the public in a comfortable, fun setting with plenty of hours to suit visitors' schedules. And the individual artisans have a rich history of creating fine craft and love offering it with good food and community spirit. Now, you can catch the Cherry Street Artisans' 7th Annual Holiday Sale and Cafe, perhaps pick up some Christmas presents in a local setting. That'll be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday, December 6th, and 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, December 7th. It's all set to kick off at the home of Judy Zemmel in Brattleboro at her 44 Cherry Street Victorian house. Now, just prior to last year's 6th Annual Holiday Sale, we sat down with members of the Cherry Street Collective to talk about the event.
Craftspeople tend to get to know each other around this area, and some of us became friends way back then and decided to get together and create this holiday craft event.
Just a few things to wrap up here on this Monday edition of 545 Live as we check in with BUHS TV, the high school's morning news advisory broadcast crew, to find out what's in store for this week's weather. Get a weekday look at the weather here, guys. What's going on today?
Today is Monday, high of 47, low of 19. Tomorrow's Tuesday, high of 33, low of 29. This is the best graphic ever. Back to the desk.
Well, that just about does it here for a special Monday post-Thanksgiving break edition of 545 Live. Thanks for checking in with us. We'll be back sooner than usual on Friday of this very week, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on BCTV, Comcast Channel 8. But in the meantime, thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. We'll see you later this week.